Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to learn about past tense. Actually, past refers to the time which has been passed, like yesterday, last month, last year. These are all the examples of past. Now come to the next slide. Past tense further divided into past indefinite tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. First one is simple past tense or past indefinite tense. In case of positive sentences, we will use subject with second form of the verb. For example, I bought a car. Here in this sentence, I is our subject, while bought it is second form of the verb buy. And in case of negative sentences, we will use subject with did not and first form of the verb. Keep one thing in your mind, always use first form of the verb with did. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, these are all the pronouns. And in case of negative sentences, what we will do, we have to use did not with first form of the verb. For instance, here I did not buy a car. It is up to you, you can write did not or didn't, but here when we will use did not. After this we will use buy, not bought. Similarly, in case of interrogative sentences, we will use did with subject and first form of the verb. Again, the same rule, that we will use first form of the verb when we will add did with it. Did I buy a car? We will not say did I bought a car. Come to its example. Did you study English? It is an example of simple past tense interrogative sentence. Did, obviously it shows that it is your simple past tense sentence, and study, it is the first form of the verb. And when you will use the word did here, you are not supposed to use second form of the verb but first form. Similarly, look at the second sentence. No, I didn't study English. It is also an example of simple past tense, but it is in negative form. So here you can see the word study here, not studied. Why? Because we have used the word did first. That's why we will use first form of the verb, not second form. If you will say no, I didn't studied English, it will be wrong. The correct one is no, I didn't study English. After this, come to the next slide. Come to the next one, that is past continuous tense. Past continuous tense expresses the actions or tasks that were ongoing in the past. We cannot determine when the action started or finished. Come to its structure first. In case of positive sentences, you will use subject with helping verbs like was and were, first form of the verb with ing. For example, he was traveling to Venus. Here we can see we will use was with singular pronoun, that is he. But in case of plural pronoun, you have to use were, not was. And for example, we were traveling to Venus if your sentence is plural. Similarly, come to its negative sentence. What will be its rule? You have to use subject with helping verb like was and were, including not, first form of the verb with ing. He was not traveling to Venus. If in case of plural pronoun, you will use they were not or we were not traveling to Venus. In case of interrogative sentence, what will you do? You will write your was or were, then subject, first form of the verb with ing and question mark at the end. Don't forget one thing, that you have to put question mark if your sentence is interrogative. Either your sentence is positive or negative, you have to put full stop at the end. But in case of interrogative, you will use question mark. Here example is was he traveling to Venus? If your sentence will be plural, so you have to write it in this way, were they traveling to Venus. Come to its more examples. I was watching TV when she called. He was shaving his beard when the doorbell rang. Come to the next tense, that is past perfect tenses, mean that any work which had done perfectly in the past. Come to its structure. In case of positive sentence, subject with had and third form of the verb or past participle. For example, she had finished the test or we had done our work. In case of negative sentence, subject with had not and third form of the verb or past participle. For example, she had not finished the test or we had not done our work. In case of interrogative sentence, had with subject and third form of the verb or past participle. Had she finished the test or had we done our work? Come to the next slide. Again, this point is repeated here, that you have to use had and third form of the verb or past participle here. And if you look at the example, when we reach the school, the bell had already rung. The ringing of the bell happened first. Here in the second part of the sentence, we can see the use of past perfect tense, but in the first part of the sentence, we will see the use of second form of the verb, or simply you can say we have used simple past tense or past indefinite tense. Come to the next one, that is past perfect continuous tense, which indicates a past action which started in the past and continued to happen after another action in time in the past. In case of positive sentence, subject will be used along with had been, first form of the verb with ing. Okay, one thing in your mind, when we studied present perfect continuous tense, we read the use of has been or have been, but here we will use had been only. Either your pronoun or noun is singular or plural, doesn't matter. You have to use had been only, not any other one. In case of negative sentence, subject with had not been, not had not been, not had been not. Okay, had not been plus first form of the verb with ing. And in case of interrogative sentence, had will come, subject then, and been, and at the end first form of the verb with ing. Again, I am repeating these points. In case of positive sentences, subject had been, first form of the verb with ing. In case of negative sentences, subject plus had not been, first form of the verb with ing. In case of interrogative sentences, had with subject, been, first form of the verb with ing. For example, if it is the word I here, I had been standing at the bus stop for 30 minutes. Remember the use of for and since we read in the present tense slide. So here we will use for. Why? Because here a definite time is given, time period is given here, a definite time period is given here. That's why we will use the word for here. But in case of indefinite time period like morning, evening, you will use since, not for. Here again, now look at the next one. You had been standing at the bus stop for 30 minutes. If it will be singular, that is he or she, then she had been or he had been standing at the bus stop for 30 minutes. And that's all. After this, now come to its recap. Today we read about past tense, and which is further divided into simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. Simple past tense, actually the action started in the past and completed in past itself. First form, no. second form of the verb will be used if your sentence will be positive, but in case of negative or interrogative, did will be used along with first form of the verb, not second form of the verb. In case of past continuous, action in progress in past at specific point of time, use of was and were, was with singular pronouns, were with plural pronouns, first form of the verb with ing. Past perfect states about an action completed before another action took place in past. Use of had, not has or have. Remember, in present perfect tense, we read about the use of has or have, but here you will use had only with past participle or third form of the verb. The last one is past perfect continuous, started in past, continued for some time and ended in past. You will use had been, first form of the verb, along with ing. That's all for today. Thank you.